Legends drama. We should probably get into the actual topic at hand, right? As much as I want to completely and totally focus on my escapades in video games that nobody really truly cares about, it's just me, honestly. There is something that another man on the internet cares about a lot more than I think is healthy, and that's KEEMSTAR with pronouns in bios. Now, I've done a video on KEEMSTAR before, and it was about the pronouns thing too. But this one seems a little bit weirder. Just a little bit. So I wanted to go ahead and cover it today, because I think that there might be something under this.
Transgender people are special people because they're rare. Let's say you're collecting baseball cards, Pokemon cards, whatever it is. The rarest item is worth the most.
Yes and no. So rarity is one factor in what causes certain cards to be worth the most. Performance is another one. Some of the most expensive cards that Yu-Gi-Oh, for instance, has ever had have not been the most expensive because they've been rare. They've been the most expensive because they have been used by competitive players and have thus garnered a history. I would also say that trans people are special not because they are rare, because then you're just special for being a minority. That's a weird take. I would say they're special because they're people, and I think that they deserve respect and also deserve to be treated well. But let's go ahead and see what else KEEMSTAR has to say here. Because apparently objectifying trans people is how we're going to begin this particular video.
And if you're looking at the human race, transgender people are a minority. They are very rare. They are special.
So I'm just going to say right now, when he goes into it like this, I'm thinking that this is very deliberate. KEEMSTAR is known for drama. That's what makes his channel work. If YouTube drama didn't happen, he wouldn't have a channel. My thought is that Keem knows that this is something that will rile people up. He knows it's something that will make people upset. So as a result, he's going to use this as his opportunity to make people upset about people who care about trans issues. Make them upset. He gets to sound incredibly condescending. He gets to sound like a complete and total douchebag. And he does it in such a way that makes people like me make videos on him. And that's what he wants. So I recognize there's a part of me that's playing into his hands a little bit here. But at the same time, it does strike me as weird to simply want outrage, but not for the right reasons. If I wanted to build outrage, I could do it very easily, and make that outrage actually go somewhere useful, right? Let's do outrage against CEOs. It's very easy to point out the ways in which they exploit their workers. Outrage against the United States not paying people or not trying to force people to have living wages, forcing people to have poverty wages. You can do all kinds of things in realms where it's actually functionally helpful for people to elicit anger. KEEMSTAR wants the anger elicited for his own personal benefit, for his own personal profit. At least, that's my belief. I could be wrong. I could be incredibly incorrect. But I don't think I am.
And when I'm on Twitter and I see a pronoun in the bio, right? Pronouns are in the bio. I'm thinking to myself, that's a special person. But it's not. It's a normal straight person, right?
That's the point. That's the point, Keem. That's the point. Okay. So, does anybody know what the whole pronouns in bio thing is supposed to be for? Does anybody understand? Okay, let me explain it to you very, very easily. And anybody in my audience who is trans and knows about this, if I get anything wrong, please correct me. The idea is to get rid of this notion that trans people are special and cis people are normal. The idea is to get rid of this notion that people are different. The idea is to normalize transness. Normalize people being who they are and doing so healthily. When you have a sticker on your back that says who you are at all times, that is incredibly degrading for your mental health. One of the healthiest ways an ally can help without putting in any effort whatsoever, aside from just respecting individual trans people in their lives, is doing things to help normalize being trans. Normalize it in conversation. Normalize it in your everyday life. Normalize talking about these issues in a way that isn't hush-hush and angry and what have you. Normalize them literally fucking existing. Putting your pronouns in your bio is, while some people might see it as virtue signaling, it is a zero-cost thing to do that helps normalize transness. That's it. That's it. That's all it is. So when you sit here and go, no, trans people are special, you need to be special, you are making an argument for further alienating trans people, further putting them on a pedestal, and knowing Keemstar's entire channel is about drama, my thought is that this is an attempt to make sure that these people can be on a pedestal so that it's easier for him to make content about them, easier to knock them down. It doesn't seem like this is a thing done in good faith. And again, I don't think Keemstar and good faith have been uttered together in the same sentence ever since the Leafy is here shit.
It's Sandy, who is an ally. She's not your ally. She knows that everyone is out there fighting for your rights. Everyone knows that you're special, Mr. or Mrs. Transgender person. She knows that.
Everybody's fighting for your rights? Who? During the Trump administration, we literally saw trans people's rights get stripped away. Their ability to maintain having a job get stripped away. We saw their ability to participate in the military and serve their country stripped away. We saw their ability to have access to particular and helpful medical care stonewalled. Yeah, there are people who are fighting for their rights. But it's not the norm. It's not the norm at all.
And she's a fucking clout demon, literally trying to steal your hype, your specialness for herself. Look at me, I'm fighting for the trans rights. Look at me, they're clout demons, they're stealing your fucking clout.
This is projection, Keem. This is literally just what you do all the time. You're just arguing what you do. You're piggybacking off of other people's existence, their mere existence, for retweets, for likes, because they go towards your channel. You do stuff on Twitter, it raises the alarms, people end up seeing you, your name is in their mouths, and then eventually they start looking at your channel, or at the very least, if you can live in infamy in the minds of multiple people, people will tune into your channel and people will give you money. Whether by themselves or through the YouTube monetization practices. Either way. The thing you're accusing this hypothetical person of doing is exactly what you're doing, Keem. But I think he knows that. I am 100% certain. Again, I could be wrong. But I am personally certain that that is what he's doing, and he knows. When you make an argument that, no, the trans people should hate their allies, should be angry with their allies, because they're just trying to be clout chasers, when they're doing something that literally, again, it's a zero-cost thing, and the more people that do it, the less virtue signally it looks. If there were 12 trans people in a room and 2 people who were cis, and one of those cis people had their pronouns in their bio and the other one didn't, there could be a conversation between the two of them, hey, why did you do that? But if there's a bunch of cis people putting their pronouns in their bio, eventually the conversation about why you're doing it just stops happening, because guess what? Congratulations, it's been normalized. The goal has been met. Keemstar, though, doesn't see things that way. In Keemstar's world, it's not enough to be normal. It is better to be on a pedestal. It is better to be special. It is better to be the person where the eyes of the world are on you. And for somebody who runs a drama-centric channel, this mentality makes perfect sense. At least to me.
They know you're special and they're
But it's also stupid.
trying to take it from you. They know millions of people are out there fighting for your rights, fighting for more acceptance, and they're out there stealing your goddamn specialness.
Nobody's stealing anybody's specialness. And hell, there are more trans people who want to be normal than want to be special. For most of the trans people that I've talked to do not want a signal blare where everybody can just look at them and instantly clock them at any point in time. They don't want to shout from the heavens, "Hey, I'm trans." They just do that right now because they feel like they have to. It's not that they want to. Many of them want to just be considered normal, to be looked at as normal, as no different than a standard fucking cishet person walking down the road. They don't want everybody to immediately blare their foghorns. Hey, look, there's a trans over there. They don't fucking want that. Some might. Most don't. Not to mention how incredibly unsafe it is to be in an environment where your mere existence is constantly publicized like that. If you go out and there's some random bigot who's been grown up in, well, basically where I came from, and they find out you're trans, the likelihood that they're going to assault you increases drastically. That's not what they want. That's not what people want to happen to them.
When I see pronouns in a bio, that better be a special person. That better be a trans person. Because Sandy, there's no confusion with your long hair and your her/she and your bio. There's no confusion. We know you're a girl.
Really? So, Keem, I got a question. If I found somebody who was completely androgynous, and you literally could not tell, there was no way, their profile pictures in such a way that all the different markers that you would use to basically clock them were not visible, what would you do? Because there's a conversation where you talk about them in the third person, say, on your channel, and then you misgender them. You say she, because they looked androgynous, and then you find out they were he. But again, I don't think that's the point. To focus on the ways in which KEEMSTAR is wrong is not the point. The point is, KEEMSTAR wants to facilitate drama. He wants to facilitate an artificial conversation. He wants to see cis people and trans people fighting against each other when they're just trying to get the fuck along. Because in his world, that's good. And another point, if I were to double back into the ways in which KEEMSTAR is wrong and focus away from the actual important point here, what is trying to be accomplished, what do you do with a non-binary person? Like, what do you do? Because there's more than just he, him, and she, her. There are people who go by they, them. And when you actively try to put a gender on them for whatever reason, they do not want that. So what do you do in those situations, Keem? Oh, right. I know exactly what you do in those situations. You create artificial drama where there doesn't need to be any.
You're not special. You're just a fucking clout demon trying to suck the goddamn clout away from the trans community because you know people are out there fighting for the goddamn rights. We know what you're doing.
Okay, so I have a question. How does being a trans ally get you clout? How? Because in my situation, it hasn't given me clout. There are other things that have given me a little bit of clout. The tiny bit of clout that I've managed to dig out of the feces-ridden cesspool that is YouTube. Most of that had to do with atheism. Most of that had to do with philosophy. But what clout does being a trans ally give you? If anything, it just makes you have a bunch of conversations that are really awkward about gender that you probably don't understand, and then you end up explaining gender really badly to some rando person on the internet or in your real life, and then making things arguably worse for the next trans person who gets in a conversation with them. Like that, you don't get clout from it. But, okay, Keem. Again, in the mind of KEEMSTAR, everybody must have these ulterior motives there. Now, I have an ulterior motive. Thank you very much for the donation, Rider for Life. I can hear Jim Sterling laughing at Keem from here. Thank you for the $10 donation. But I can go ahead and tell that in KEEMSTAR's world, everybody doing something for their own ulterior motive, their own ulterior means, makes perfect sense. I have my pronouns in my bio for a couple of reasons. One of them is, yes, trans allyship. But that's not my primary reason. The primary reason I have them in there, and I have actually shown this multiple times. If you go to my Twitter profile, it literally says pronouns in bio to elicit ad homs. Because there are several things that I deliberately do to elicit ad hominem attacks. And I do it on purpose. And I have never made a secret about that. I've actually made an entire video about that. Yes, there can be ulterior motives for putting pronouns in bio, but even mine isn't clout. Mine is deliberately, so that idiots on the internet end up attacking strictly because the pronouns are in the bio. Because what's the thing we see on Twitter all the time, Keem? Person A gives their opinion, person B gives a rebuttal, and person A then responds, pronouns in bio, of course. That happens. It doesn't help the cis person to have their pronouns in their bio 99% of the time. But, you know, whatever, Keem. Let's go ahead and finish up this clusterfuck.
And for those trans people watching, please stop these goddamn clout demons, because that's what they're doing.
And there it is. There's the call to action. It is about trying to get trans and cis people to fight each other over trivial shit. Shit that costed the cis person nothing at first, but now, suddenly, they're not going to want to engage in trans allyship because their trans friends are going to attack them if they happen to watch KEEMSTAR. And then he gets to siphon off of that drama, because that is what Keem does.
That is what they're doing. They want the attention for themselves, and they're removing the spotlight off of you onto them, and it's bullshit. And it's bullshit.
And now here we get the manipulation. Now it's KEEMSTAR. He's your friend. He's the real trans ally. Real trans ally KEEMSTAR, right here. Except, Keem, you're not. You're not. And honestly, I know one thing that feels much better than listening to any more of your content. That was my leg, not my balls that time. It hurt significantly less. But it is at least more enjoyable than listening to Keem ally himself so as to facilitate drama. But, with all that said, and all that craziness and stupidity that we just had to watch, what do you think his motivations are? What do you think he's doing? I've laid out my reasons. If you think they're wrong, let me know in the comment section below. With that said, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, leave a comment. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon so that you can know whenever new videos come out and when I go live streaming. I usually stream around 1 p.m. every day for the most part, with a few exceptions. And with all that said, there's links in the description for other shit if you end up wanting to support in other ways. But let me know what you think, and I will see you all in the next video.